G'day there guys, it's Connor here again, and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okie dokie, we're on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Quiet Lead, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for forcing my husband to take in his estranged daughter despite his wishes? So, my husband and I are currently cooling down from a fight, and he called me a few things, including a-hole. Everything is a bit of a mess right now, so emotions are running high, but I really need a sanity check and maybe some fresh arguments because I feel like we're going in circles. Long story long, my husband had a daughter when he was in his early 20s with his ex-girlfriend. They were not good for each other, a lot of fighting and just emotional abuse, so they split just before the child was born. He has been very open about this in our relationship and how he regrets not taking more care to not get her pregnant because they were young and immature and stupid. He never really got to build a relationship with his daughter. Her mother would just keep the kid from him and made it clear that she did not want him in their life. He has paid child support the whole way through, but it's been uphill for our entire relationship. When we met, my husband had matured greatly and was eventually ready to start a family, so I've seen a bit from the sideline. When our first child was born, his ex went for more child support because, quote, if he can afford a new kid, he can afford to pay up. She is always being super nasty in any conversation they might have, and she taught their daughter the same thing. He has tried to at least get a phone call for Christmas, and last year his daughter said some really awful things on that call, calling him deadbeat and other awful things, telling him she hates him and never wants to get to know him. She is 13 now, so I know that her mother is still influencing her a lot, but she's also reaching an age where he can't just say that she doesn't know what she's saying or how hurtful it is. So my husband has basically given up trying. None of them want to try, so he resigned to that. A few days ago, he got a call. The core of it is that his daughter told a teacher that she was being SA'd at home. CPS showed up and her mother split, disappearing. They want her to come live with us. My husband wants to decline. He has no relationship with this child. She seems to hate his guts. We have younger children and honestly, no experience dealing with a trauma like that. He believes she would be better off with a foster family who knows what they're dealing with. I told him that there's no way this kid got abused, abandoned, and then getting rejected from the only family she has. We are taking her in, and we will figure out the rest. That poor kid needs some stability, not getting tossed around in the system. Currently, we are not in agreement, and I know that he has the last word since I'm just his partner and not related to this girl. Am I being unreasonable in thinking this is a huge red flag, and that he needs to step up to be a father for her too? Oh geez, this is tricky. I mean, I do agree with OP in the fact that she needs stability, and the foster care system is not going to do that, contrary to what the husband might think. But at the same time, taking her in has every chance of imploding and ruining this family dynamic that they've worked for. Let's go to the comments. What you are trying to do is admirable, but will likely blow up your family. You cannot even imagine the damage that has been done to this child. The stress will be so hard on your entire family, and your children don't deserve that any more than the daughter deserved what was done to her. There's another option, foster care placement with frequent visits. She can start therapy and have time to get to know you and your family. Your family can start therapy and learn ways to handle her and help her. It may work out or it may not, but you'll have tried while balancing your children and giving your husband time to adjust. You're not abandoning her this way. This is not a question of whether or not you're the a-hole. The real question you need to ask yourself is if you're willing to sacrifice your current family for this child. While taking her in might be the right thing to do, it seems your husband is looking at this situation a lot more clearly and logically than you are. Neither of you are equipped to handle a child with trauma. That is on top of your already precarious relationship with the child. And what about your own children? Again, are you okay with destroying their family and security because you think it's the right thing to do? Is it even your call? You have expressed your opinion, but this has to be a unified decision, and your husband's point of view should carry more weight, considering she's his daughter, not yours. This is a situation where you need to step back and follow your husband's lead. So, you're the a-hole if you make the decision for your husband. He has zero relationship with this kid, and you want to bring in a traumatized teenager stranger to your house where you have small children? You have to protect your family. Maybe start out by trying to get to know his daughter first before you'll just allow her to move in. If you make this choice unilaterally, there is a real chance you're going to destroy your family. Think about that for a minute. The simple fact is that although it's objectively the right thing to do, many people are not equipped in the first place to help people who have trauma. Asking someone who is probably already one of these people to take under their wing someone who has also been a part of their own trauma could end badly. Real chance he could just go, "F this, you want to take her in? She's your problem," and start divorce proceedings. Also, you have young kids of your own. You really want to inflict the tension of this on your own family too? Also, there's the fact that if she isn't helped as much as she needs it, which I've already expressed, there's a good chance you'll fail at, not because you're bad, but because it's frickin' hard. Most people who abuse were abused. Just saying. Taking her in is objectively the correct and humane thing to do, but so is protecting your husband, your kids. This isn't clear-cut. You would be the a-hole if you make this choice unilaterally without having a very clear discussion with your husband. Edit to add, assuming it's even possible for you to make this choice unilaterally, as others have said, you have no legal right or standing to this child outside of your husband. Okay, Opie makes an edit. Okay, this has been a bit overwhelming to come back to, but I'll try to clear up a few things. 1. I'm aware I have no legal say in the matter, but my husband and I are a team and a family, so my opinion matters to him. 2. Neither of us have experience with the foster system, so we're really just going off what we think we know. I want to thank everyone who's been able to elaborate a bit more on this. And 3. Yes, my husband was a deadbeat dad in the beginning. Later on, he's been able to see that they were a really bad match, but that he should probably have tried harder. Once visits became an option, he tried, but she would forget and not be at home, or say it wasn't the date they agreed on and stuff like that. Maybe he could have gone through court, but he just gave up really. Hindsight is 20/20, but it doesn't change the fact of the now, unfortunately. A mini update. We sat down to have a talk about why the discussion had gone off the rails, not touching the subject yet, but just why we ended up in a screaming match. He told me that he was completely overwhelmed by this and was in a panic. According to him, the CPS person had made it sound like he could take her in, or she would go into a system that spits out drug-addicted prostitutes, as one comment colourfully put it. He feels really guilty for letting this happen to his kid. Even if she hates his guts, he feels like he should have done something to prevent this. I guess I was too focused on how bad his daughter might be off right now to truly see that he was hurting just as bad right now. We've agreed to talk about it again in the morning in a more calm setting and try to get some more facts about what can be done. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted, but we've both called off work tomorrow so we can take the time we need. I hope there's a positive update in the near future. Okay, and on to an update, 3 days later. Things are pretty hectic right now, but a lot of people were kind enough to take time out of their day to offer advice and their own experiences, and I want to say thank you for that. I'm not going into details, there is a lot more going on than I'm sharing here, so I can assure you that divorce is nowhere near on the table for us. We have had several tough talks in the last few days, but once we got past the worst panic, we were a lot more on the same page than we thought. My husband has agreed to take responsibility for his daughter and is looking into an emergency custody of her. We are not trying to play family, as some suggested. He is going to take legal charge of her and keep her out of the system. She will not be living with us right now. We have contacted an inpatient therapy clinic that can take her in to start the healing process. My husband is taking leave from work and leasing a second car so he can be there as much as needed and possible. He knows she might never consider him her father or even family, but from now on we will be her support system. She won't have to depend on a poor overworked CPS contact, random legal guardians, homes changing, etc. If she needs therapy, we will get it for her. If she needs legal counsel, we will get it for her. If she needs the system, we will help her navigate it. If she wants to live with a foster family, we will support that. We will make it clear that our support is not conditioned on her playing family with us. She never has to set foot in our home if she chooses not to. We know that she might never appreciate any of it, but that is okay too. We have some savings we can take from, and we're setting up a college fund for her as well. It will not make her rich, but we hope to be able to cover at least some of it when the time comes. We're starting family therapy as well, to start talking to our kids about the fact that they have a sister, and that Dad will be gone a lot more for a while. My husband will be starting therapy as well to work on his guilt and hurt from this whole situation. Yeah, seems like a good compromise for everyone here. Opie comments on her husband's emotional distress. People can feel emotional distress that can cause them to lash out for a while before they were able to calm down and think more rationally about their situation. One comment says, "Your approach demonstrates a deep commitment to doing what's best for your husband's daughter and your family. The focus on support, therapy, and respect for her autonomy are all vital components of navigating this challenging situation." She replies, "I'll admit, the comments on the first thread were hard to read, but it did make me see that I was too naive. I have no doubt it's going to be hard, but right now we have a plan, some sort of direction for this. Most of it is theoretical at this point, but I hope we can make it work." Sounds like your husband is stepping up and being a responsible father, despite the difficult circumstances. Kudos to him for taking on this challenge, and I hope it all works out for the best. Good luck to your family. Another short update 3 months later. I'm not going to go into details, but kind people have reached out and offered help and advice, and I want to thank you all for that. 1. We did not ship my stepdaughter off to a mental asylum indefinitely. She was with professionals that could make an in-depth assessment of her health and outline a plan for us while starting the process. My husband was there as much as his daughter and her doctor wanted him to be. 2. Her mum showed up. There is a criminal investigation going on, and my stepdaughter has, with the help of her therapist, testified. We're so proud of her and hope this could be a stepping stone for her moving forward. And 3. She lives with us now and we're working closely with professionals about how to make it work. It's not perfect, it's not easy, it's not fun, but it's not something we would change. And I can't believe I have to say this, but yes, we asked her what she wanted all the way through this. We have not forced her to do anything. Alrighty, moving straight on to another update, 7 months later. Last September, I turned to Reddit after having an argument with my husband. We found ourselves in a difficult situation after it came to light that his daughter from a previous relationship had been essayed and her mum disappeared. A lot of people weighed in and reached out, and we got some very different perspectives on the whole thing. This is mostly a good update, but there are obviously a lot of bad stuff popping up along the way. I can't believe I have to spell this out, but we've spoken with my stepdaughter, we'll call her Anne, about every step of the way, what she wanted, how we could make it work. And yes, we have spent a lot of money on this. Thankfully, we were in a decent place financially, and my in-laws have been helping out as well. I guess bad news first. Mum and her boyfriend showed up eventually, and there is a trial in the works. I can't say too much, but I honestly think my husband was ready to go to jail for murder at several points. Anne testified, on video thankfully, so she did not have to sit through it in front of these people. My husband was and is there with her permission. Anne's therapist has alerted us and the police that he suspected that she's been drugged on some occasions, based on the things they talked about. My husband came home from that meeting and started researching how to get a gun. No, we did not get a gun with toddlers in the house. Unfortunately, there's no real chance of mum and boyfriend going to jail nearly as long as they deserve, which is forever in my opinion, but they will most likely get some jail time at least. Therapy is going well, all in all. Anne's therapist has facilitated some sessions between Anne and my husband which have been tough for both of them, a lot of things said. As the title says, Anne lives with us and has since she felt ready to after being in inpatient care for a few weeks. We cleared out the office and we got the biggest lock we could find for her door. It's symbolic mostly, but she can lock that door as much as she wants on her terms. We only ask that she keeps it fairly clean and no smoking or drugs. She is welcome at all meals, but not forced, and I always make enough so that she can have it later if she wants. We did not see much of her in the first months, which was pretty expected from what we were told by our family therapist. One of us is always home, unless we all go out, 5, and available. My husband got more working from home days so we can make it work. We don't force her to interact with her step-siblings, but she is mostly neutral towards them. We have implemented a no touching others without asking permission rule, and sometimes the kids slip up and forget in the heat of the moment, but she's taken it super cool so far. A few weeks back, our boy ran over to the TV while she was watching something and demanded I put on his favourite show. He's only seen it like 10,000 times. I told him no, Anne is using the TV and he has to wait his turn. Without any prompting, Anne told him it was okay, switched over and watched an episode with him. He was ecstatic and demanded another episode, which they watched before I pried him off the couch so she could watch her thing. I thanked her and assured her that she was free to say no in the future, and she said she didn't mind really. So yeah, she's not skipping school more than other teenagers. I know she has some Snapchat streak with some of the girls in her class that they do every day, saving up for a new iPhone, stuff like that. Again, I'm not including all the details of our lives, obviously. There are bad days and fights and yelling too, but I'm cautiously optimistic that Anne is going to turn out all right in the end. She's still not calling my husband Dad, and probably never will, but that's fine. We just want her to be able to live her life the best she can. Okay folks, and that's the final update so far. I'll keep an eye out for any future ones, but yeah, honestly, from where that started, that's about as good of an ending as you could hope for, I think. Let's read some final comments. It's not easy for anyone in this situation, but it sounds like you're doing the right thing most days, and that's good as it's better than most do. Hang in there, and try to allow yourself and your husband a me time to recharge the emotional battery. Everyone needs it, and it isn't selfish. Opie replies, I'll admit, I do miss our life from before we suddenly had a teenager and a criminal case on our hands. Just being in that system, even secondarily, is hell. But I do think she's a good kid at heart. Still tests us at times, especially when she's in contact with her mum. They're not meeting, obviously, but they have some phone time. Again, we are following the advice of professionals. My husband was not on board at first, and I get it, I really do. I wish that woman would sink into the earth and live out the rest of eternity in hell. Opie defends her husband on not being there for his daughter in her life at the beginning. You may find this hard to believe, but my husband is a very loving and caring dad. He got stuck in a bad situation as a young man, and didn't have the resources to resolve it in a good way. He is working so hard to do better for her. He has sat through so many fights where she has hurled insults at him, and all he can do is apologize. He's had to hear these awful details about how his child was abused, and blames himself for everything that has happened to her. He has cried more times in the last year than in all the time we've known each other because he can't make that pain go away for her, even if he would take it upon himself in a heartbeat. He can't undo the past, but I'm honestly a little ticked off by all the people here painting him like a monster. Opie comments on monitoring Anne's phone calls to her mum. We are in the room and she is on speaker for all calls, and we always make sure Anne can talk to her therapist either online or in person within a few days of each call. We've made it clear that she decides if she wants to talk to her, but cutting her off has to be her own choice, with the guidance from us and professionals. Thank you for providing her with the safety and stability she needs to process what happened and take the necessary steps towards healing. I'm also glad to hear that there will be some kind of justice for her and that they allowed her to testify via video. Her bravery and strength is truly commendable. Opie replies, We have really done our best to stress how brave she is being by speaking up and out against them. Once her part was wrapped up, my husband came home with 6 different kinds of ice cream and threw us an ice cream for dinner party. It was super silly, but very sweet, and I think she got a little of that, "Oh my gosh, Dad, you're so embarrassing," teenage feeling for the first time. We ended up only eating maybe 1 box in total. I think the last bit is still sitting in the freezer. And Opie clarifies on if her husband was previously married or not, and his visits with Anne earlier in her life. They never got married, they just had a kid. He has never visited much. In the beginning, like first 3 months of the daughter's life, they were on and off, fighting and just super unstable as a family. After he moved out or got kicked out, he didn't see her much because Mum insisted that their daughter was too young to be with him more than 10 minutes at a time. If his parents, Anne's grandparents, were there, it usually went a little better, so in the end it often depended on them being able to be there as well. Once she got a little older, he tried to push for seeing her, and he did threaten to take her to court a few times, but she would make excuses, say they could work it out like friends, make promises. He had dropped out of college to work to provide for them and had to go back to try to get his degree, so he was not in a position where he could spend thousands and thousands on legal assistance, and they both knew it. We were friends for some years before dating, and his ex would do this weird love bombing by proxy, saying that their daughter wanted to see him, missed him, asked about him, and they would set a date, and then something came up last minute, or she forgot a doctor's appointment or something like that. Then it would be impossible for him to get a hold of her or get a straight answer for months, and then it started over. And as she got older, when he did get to see her on birthdays and holidays, she would say things like she wanted to go home, she missed her mother, throw tantrums until he gave in and brought her back. We offered to take her to Disneyland when she turned 10. We figured it was a dream trip for a little girl, and we could try to get to know her a little. and she refused to go unless her mum was invited and paid for too. And when she started saying things like she hates him and she doesn't want to see him, well, he gave up trying to force the issue. One commenter says, also an update where it's been a year and the court case is still very much ongoing. That is realistic. Also the fact that perpetrators will probably receive a slap on the wrist, at least considering the severity of the crime. I console myself with the fact that society and the workforce aren't particularly welcoming to people who just got out of prison, unless they're rich, which is a big problem for rehabilitation of ex-cons after stuff like property crimes and minor drug possession, but I don't mind so much in the case of people who've abused children. As soon as the OP said they put a massive lock on the door, I had a very good feeling. That is such a small but massive thing for a kid with that kind of trauma. It also makes sense that the wee ones were the ones she had breakthroughs with first. Young kids are honest to fault, but they rarely act out of their own basic self-interests. If he wants to watch TV, it's because he wants to watch TV, and nothing more, which I also imagine would be easier for someone to connect with when the adults in her life are likely saying one thing while doing another. I want to print out this story for when anyone tells me money doesn't bring you happiness. No, but it pays for a house with extra space, quality inpatient mental facilities, good family and individual therapy, good lawyers, enough food and clothes for a whole extra person in your house, etc, etc, etc. Yeah, in situations like this, money certainly helps a lot. I think Anne is incredibly lucky that she had this side of her family willing to take on that responsibility. Anyway guys, as always I'm going to pass it over to you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.